We're allowed
Yeah,
at the
so,
aquarium.
yeah. I kind of didn't want to put the name of the place out because I don't know if that's a thing.
Oh, okay,
But
got it.
yeah, looking at the fish, we got a nice view. It seemed like they're all following Josh.
Uh-huh.
'Cause when you went on the other side of the aquarium, they went on the other side.
They like me.
I know everybody likes you. They're literally all the fish. Like, are all the fish over there where you at?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, all the stingaways.
Hmm. Yeah. So we're chilling at the aquarium, and something interesting happened today, and we were just kind of wondering what y'all thought about it. So we noticed that when we go out and we got the kids and everything else, and there's like this chill area where you can have like your little space off to the side. And, you know, how do I say this? This is so sad. Okay, breastfeeding, right?
Well, rest there sitting on, like if you're in a park, there's benching set up off the main path, just like you can just kind of chill.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, this is the thing that got me. So, okay, breastfeeding is not like a loud thing. Like, it's not like in your face, right? It's something that you can do very discreetly without anybody even noticing. But the way that you give it away is if like you have like on a shawl or something in public and you're sitting. And one thing I'm realizing about women is that women are not like sitting. So that's another thing. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
Like,
I think you just said a lot there. Women are not sitting. To effectively
right.
breastfeed, you sit. They're not sitting. They're walking around and all that too much.
And that's why
They ain't
people be
sitting
saying
down.
that women need to like sit down somewhere and all that stuff.
Hmm.
Because that's what it is. It's like, so here's the crazy thing. I would get all these crazy looks. Like people be looking at me all crazy if I breastfeed, even in like a designated area, like where it's designed for you to be off to the side. But then at the same time, um, I think Philho. Sorry if I butchered your name. But hey, so at the same
Wadley
time,
Shithole.
how you? Yeah. So that at the same time, oh, by the way, ooh,
Hello.
fish are starting to come over here. They're starting to come over here. Ha ha! I'm getting popular again. Oh, there's a shark. There's a shark.
Yep. Oh man.
Did you get the shark yet? Did you get to see the shark?
No.
Yeah, he came over. We got a stingray too.
I got a shark over here though. It's just chilling.
It's just chilling.
Yeah,
Okay, I
it's
got this
sitting
other shark.
sitting by a big old pipe in the water.
Look at that stingray. Hey, how do you know if a
Hey,
stingray is a girl or a guy?
I don't know.
I think I'm getting flashed by a stingray. Like they over here being real provocative right now.
There's two spurs that come down on sharks that make it a male.
He's showing me his thing then.
He ain't
Don't be
scared.
doing that.
Put that away.
Anyway, I'm trying to complain. Okay, so here's the deal.
Ha ha.
So yeah, I noticed that about women too. Like, so there would be chicks that are like super naked, and I would be all minding my business, just or I'll be over to the side somewhere, and like when I breastfeed, it's not like everybody can see everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like that's what weirds me out. And you know what's so crazy? Before we had kids, I would see women in public that were breastfeeding, and I would just kind of get in their space. You know what I mean? But that's the crazy thing about being a mom. It's like being a woman. There's so much pressure on being a woman in here in America. But then on top of that, being I don't want to say like a natural woman or like, breastfeeding, for example, is like taboo. Like being a woman is just it's just weird. Like a regular chick. Is he over there fussing?
And he just was doing something weird.
You know what's so
He didn't want.
crazy? Every time, like my ears are so crazy. Like every time I hear a baby cry, I'd be like, "Is that my baby?" So he chilling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Jazz, she over here sound asleep. And she's good.
He's actually staring at the fish.
Really. And not screaming at them.
No,
Yeah.
man, he looking that way. He just looking at him, but yawning,
Yeah.
just like.
Yeah, he might fall asleep. Yeah. And I just wanted to say another good tip for like, family out is the aquarium is where it's at. Like if you want your kids to kind of chill, they kick back. They kick back at the aquarium. But anyway, I just thought that was interesting though. Um this whole like how women can be like butt naked in public, right? Nobody cares. But like if a woman is breastfeeding, why is breastfeeding like such a negative thing? Why do you think that is?
Well,
Oh, you getting a lot of water over there. I think you bought like a waterfall or something. This is kind of loud.
really, I don't hear nothing over here.
Oh, okay. Might be my side. But anyway, go ahead.
So I've noticed that I've seen less women like stepping to the side and feeding their babies from themselves. They be like having bottles. They're not sitting down. And yes, when you was talking about women just wearing just any and all everything that basically see through or almost nothing at all, that's not a problem. But then when you just taking care of your baby, they're like,
Yeah, but I was saying like, why do you think that's like a thing like that? Women who are breastfeeding, is it because of the boob? Do people?
it's because everyone feels like there's a way you can feed your baby and not have to do it like that. Like, because there's formula and everything, so everyone thinks you should feed your baby formula. They think it's
Oh,
it's kind of like an outdated way of doing it now because everyone acts like it's like disgusting or sexual, and it's not even what it's about. It's actually you're just feeding your baby, and there's enough people out here that want to raise crazy about it and then go, "Oh, it wasn't serious." Like, well, there's a baby, there's a woman with a baby, and she's feeding them. Leave them alone and just carry on your business.
right.
Like,
Because
it's
that's the thing.
the women that breastfeed actually go out of their way to get out of the middle of where everyone is to be left alone and not to be causing a problem. They actually place themselves out of the main way of traffic. So people that
Yeah, but
complain
that's
go to those places on purpose.
yeah, but that's what I was saying though is that you'll have like women like all in your face. Like one of the chicks that kind of gave me this weird look, right?
Mm-hmm.
Her butt was like hanging out of her pants. And her boobs, you can see everything, like all the way up into the nipple.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like,
So
now
basically,
me,
since you're not wearing clothing like that, that's a problem too. So you're feeding your baby, but you're not showing your body like that. How can you back it like that?
yeah, because that's another thing about that too. Because take like the shawl, right?
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn. So there are these special shawls that women can use to breastfeed in public. And like I said before, most people don't know this, but there are literally designated areas where women can breastfeed. Like I'm actually sitting in a designated area. Like I think this is why they cut this area off. I hope you can hear me. I think I covered the
I
mic.
can
I
hear you
mean,
fine.
but this is actually like it's everywhere in public. It's everywhere. Um, and then it's where nobody can
Mm-hmm.
like we don't realize it, but they're everywhere. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's what it is that most people don't know about this. So then when they see a person like me utilizing it, I think the people's first reaction is that they get curious
He over here
because,
falling asleep.
huh? Oh, good, good, good.
Bookie falling asleep. He's fighting to sleep, but his head's falling down.
Yeah. Oh, good. So this right here, this will help him go to sleep. Both of them will be asleep. Um, I don't know. Maybe we can walk around and check some stuff out, do some stuff for us while they're
Absolutely.
asleep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe. Oh, that what you call it? That kitchen store. We can go check that
Mm-hmm.
out.
I've been
See
wanting to
when
take you there for
Jazz.
a minute.
Yeah, so like when Jazz go all the way asleep, then we can actually lay them down in that little wagon. It's a nice little spot to lay them down.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah, and they stay sleep. They'll stay sleeping there for a while. By the time they get up, we'll be on our way to the house, and we already got dinner cooked and everything, so we straight. But yes, there are designated places, and like I said, when I'm in those designated places, basically, I know that I pique people's curiosity because they be like, "Oh, what's over there?" Right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when they get over there, then I'm just kind of sitting there, and I'm like, I think most people see that. Oh, that's what I was saying. Um, the shawls. I learned to not use the actual designated shawls because it lets people know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Versus if I use a blanket. So like I have like a blanket here and
Mm-hmm.
it's different, right? So since I got the blanket, most people they don't think twice about it. But if they see you with a shark, oh my god! Like how I was telling you earlier, how this one guy actually made a whole scene. I wasn't even in the restaurant. I was actually in our car, and I had tinted windows. And I don't know what made this guy. I don't know what. That's another question I have. So if I'm sitting in the back seat of my car,
Mm-hmm.
my windows are tinted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what? I mean, is it weird to see a woman sitting in the back seat of a car with the windows tinted? Is that weird?
That just shows that whoever was wanted the way to try and find out what you were doing is a creep.
Oh, okay.
Because like if it was really a big thing, there'd be more than just one person complaining, and the fact that everyone else is like leave her alone, it's like you actually
Yeah.
secluded yourself. Like,
So yeah, I just basically get a rundown of it. So I went to this restaurant, and so like, and then most mothers who are breastfeeding, I'm pretty sure they're familiar with this process. So like, of course, when you would instead of going to the back of the car to like just get the kids out and that's it, sometimes their baby wake up, they hungry. You feed them before you go into the store. So that's what I was doing. So I got out and I got in the back seat with her, and then I was feeding her. And I've done the same thing many times with our son. Um, well, no, actually, we kept him home a lot, didn't we?
yeah, we did.
Yeah. So I get in the back, and that's probably what it is. This guy, he probably was like, hey, what's going on? Because I got out of the car and then I got in the back seat, right? So maybe his thing was he was thinking, oh, I'm watching you because that's suspicious. I don't know. So I
Here's
get
my
out.
thing. He could have done that from a distance and his mind like, okay, she got in the back seat, probably has a kid, and left it alone.
Yeah.
Usually if you like even a woman or a guy and they have a two-seater car or a seat more in the same windows and they go in the back, they're getting something out of the back or they're with a kid. That's just like common knowledge.
So I guess that dude was just a jerk.
It was a jerk.
Okay,
And
cool.
he needed a reason to be a jerk. And he wanted to make you the reason.
Okay, okay, okay. Now
You
I
were
know that.
targeted.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. Because see, that's another thing too. Like about this is another thing about being like a housewife or whatever. Is like when you're out and about, I guess people can tell that your senses are not really heightened because you're so used to just being you and your kids and you're just focused on your kids. So then I feel like it was like I was like fresh meat.
Mm-hmm.
So I get back there and he's just kind of hanging out. So what I've learned, any woman that might be breastfeeding, here's a tip: if you feel like somebody is being weird, I hate to say it this way, but if you can, give them some time to clear out. So this guy taught me this. So what he did was he just kind of hung out in his car, which made me uncomfortable. I'm watching him,
That's called
and
stalking.
then oh, okay, and then he went into the restaurant. I got the kids situated. I go into the restaurant, and he confronts me in the restaurant. And so now, now the people in the restaurant,
So you have someone who watches you do what you need to do in the privacy, and it confronts you in a public place or restaurant.
yeah. So let me run it back again. So basically, I pull up to the restaurant, right? And I gotta feed Jazz. She's hungry. Junior's hungry. That's why I'm at the restaurant. I get out of the driver car. My windows are tinted. Tinted. Get out of the driver. Get in the back. Get in the back seat. Close the door. Door's closed. Can't even see in the car. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This guy, his vehicle was already in the parking lot. He moved. He actually parked next to my vehicle. So I was like, okay. Because now and then, I will tell you this. Sometimes you get weirdos that'll be like, oh, there's suspicious activity in the parking lot, and I'm willing to. He was a Karen. Guy was a Karen, for sure. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So his whole thing was, that's odd that you would get out of your driver's seat and get into the back seat. Now, I don't know. That might be a street thing. I don't know. But for me, I was attending to the kids or whatever. So then he just kind of hung out. And again, I think he was doing some kind of Karen stuff. And yeah, he got out and he goes into the store. Now that I think about it, when I opened my door to go get Junior, because it's easy to get Junior because he's bigger, he's 2, Jazz 1. This was when Jazz was smaller too. So this is before she was 1. So I'm thinking she's probably at this point, probably like 3, 4 months old. And she's not that big. So like, and then she's under the shawl and wearing tinted windows for crying out loud, right? It's not like I'm out here. I'm not like doing no Jerry Springer type stuff. But anyway, I noticed when I get out to start getting the kids situated, get them out the car, this
Mm-hmm.
dude, he goes into the restaurant. And it was almost as if he was waiting a little bit, like stalling, so that he can,
He did it. He
make
waited
a
so you
scene.
could get into a public space because you couldn't do anything really to you in your car because it's a private space. So then he wanted to make a
Ah,
scene for you to make it hard for you because he knew he could have potential leverage in a public place, but he
that
couldn't
makes
do it in the
sense.
car because that's your legal space and you aren't hurting anybody and like you have more protections. He can't like peek on your window, and go, "Hey, what you doing there like that?" That's violating. He can only do so far. So he
Yeah.
waited to do it in a way where he could have an audience, so he could,
You,
try and single you out.
yeah. And can you bring your camera back a little bit? But yeah, so I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And I'm glad you cleared that up because yeah, that was weird. So when I got in the store now, a lot of people they were already familiar with me and the kids. They've seen me there like a billion times.
Hmm.
So, I mean, it's pretty much first name basis. When I walk in, they'd be like, hey Jess, automatically, you know.
So what that
So
tells me is as a regular, they know you have a baby, so know you might have to take care of your babies. So okay, that's expected. This person doesn't know anything about taking care of babies, wants to make a scene, and is a stalker, and quite honestly, has no reason to be out in public because they
mm,
harass people and they target
yeah.
women and children.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't know all that. Um, because I was just like, okay, whatever. He was doing his thing. But like, yeah, he tried to make a scene in the store, tried to confront me about, hanging out in the car and all this other stuff. And I'm like, I'm just hanging out in my car. And I didn't even go back and forth with the guy. I was just like, okay, whatever, because I'm minding my business. And
Hmm.
so eventually the people in the restaurant were like, hey man, do you want to take your food to go? Or you don't have to get any food here if you don't want to. And he was kind of irritated with the fact that nobody was backing him. I
That's
don't know
exactly
if
what
he
he
bought
wanted.
anything.
He wanted to have them back in so he can make you go outside. Because in the restaurant, you were protected because of the witnesses and you were a regular. He didn't know that. He found out. In your car, it's private space, but in the parking lot, free game.
You know what's so crazy about that? That restaurant is actually a family-friendly restaurant, and again,
Well,
they have designated spaces there. They
and
literally have
someone
a
who doesn't have
designated
a
booth.
family and is a trying to go after people that are vulnerable with children or be a creep goes to those places to do that. And I
Okay,
think they're entitled.
okay. So he was just a outright creep.
Oh,
Okay,
he
cool.
was a creep. Yeah, he was a predator, creep, a stalker, trying to make a problem for you. He actually was going to make a problem for you because he wanted to.
And,
You
and
weren't even
that's
bothering
why,
anybody.
again, that's why I use a blanket because I notice folks like that guy, when you have a
Mm-hmm.
blanket, they don't bother
Mm-hmm.
you. But if they see a shawl, and it's so sad because the shawl is actually designed to communicate to people. Hey, be,
And there is a problem. Everyone knows what a shaw is. So everyone knows what you're doing, but they use it against the fact that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So
yeah,
they know a shaw. Oh, he was shot. Oh, you're freaking. Well, we don't want that here.
right. So that's kind of weird.
But yeah, so it's like,
Yeah. So, well, yeah, but I think that's weird that in society it is completely acceptable for women to have like see-through clothing and everything like that. And at the same time, if a woman is doing something as natural as breastfeeding, that's weird to people. Like, why
what's
isn't
the
it
problem? The
weird?
problem is
Well,
if you're natural, then you aren't feeding into the narrative that is pushed on TV and episodes of how you should be to be famous or special. You're just doing what you do for you.
hmm. I'm thinking as you're talking, I'm like,
Because if you think about it, everything everyone watches is programming. If they watch a certain show and want to be a certain way, like just throwing the name out there, some popular singer like Nicki Minaj or whatever, everyone wants to who wants to follow that wants to be just like that. So whatever she does, they're gonna do that. If she's not for breastfeeding, we ain't breastfeeding.
well, yeah, because I mean that doesn't make the corporations and stuff money.
Right. And that's what the message is. You make me money.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
And it's stupid
I can see
because
that
well, you
because
all it's happening
corporations
is you're
lose when you
naturally just doing what you're supposed to do naturally, and it's like, oh, it's a problem. No, it's not. You're the
because
problem.
like yeah, because that makes your child healthy because when you really think
And
about
child health is not in anyone's interest but yours.
right, because when you think about corporate interests, the sooner they get you on a product, the better. So
Right.
that's why from the
Because
time
they're
that
in
a
your product,
child
they know what's going to happen, so they can keep milking you until, well, end of time. I've
right,
got me an endless cash cow.
right, because see, look, this is what I'm trying to take apart. So from the time that you're born, like they have different types of milk too. So depending on your child's allergies, which can change as they get older, now I mean now it's so complicated. You have to have different types of synthetic milk throughout their upbringing, like as they're growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like because it used to be you just buy a canister of milk and that was it. But now they have different types of milk. And then some types of milk can actually be deadly. Like I remember this one lady, geez, that fish is huge. I don't know if I'm gonna catch him. I think he's getting away. Anyway, um, I remember this one lady in a grocery store. She worked in a grocery store and she was telling me about how the doctors, the pediatricians recommended that she use a certain type of milk to feed her daughter, and her daughter got extremely ill. Her daughter's weight kept dropping to the point where the lady just decided to switch to milk. And the doctors did not recommend this, and she did it, and the child was fine. Now, if she had to continue to try that certain milk, that child probably wouldn't be with us today, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why. I don't know if the doctor was getting some kind of kickback or what the deal was,
Of
but
course
they
they
were
were.
very strongly
Doctors go to schools,
recommending.
and the schools have people that sponsor them, and they have to get the sales so they can get the money up.
Right. So with that being said, it's like this certain type of milk was good for her child, and then when her child got to a certain age, then her child had to have another type of milk. So it was like whatever they're doing with these milks now is crazy. Now,
Hmm.
as for me, I just felt like, literally like I produce milk like on demand. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't know if most mothers do. Because here's another thing that I learned. If you drink, if you smoke, or if you're under an excessive amount of stress and stuff like that, then that'll affect your ability to be able to produce or whatever. Now, I don't do any of those things, right? And I
Right.
have the time and opportunity to do so. So I'm like, why not do it? Um, it's just easier. And it's free. You don't have to get up, you don't have to make no bottles or nothing like
I
that.
have since 1990. I've watched the price of milk. It was probably barely affordable with one job. You literally need to work a job alone to cover milk and everything else for the baby, not counting your living expenses. If you buy formula, because you're
Yeah,
just not going to make it.
yeah.
The milk they prescribe, there has been articles where it's been found to have metal and stuff like that that hurts the baby, and the baby reacts to it. And they're like, "Oh, we recommend this." You know,
Right.
mama milk is free, and you get a closer bond to mama. Why would you do it the other way?
But see, this is something that I'm learning too. Like, I don't want to name drop a corporation. I don't want to do that.
Of
Nah,
course
forget
not.
it. I don't care. I don't care. Nestle. Nestle um, was making synthetic milk that made a lot of children sick. And they still continue to make synthetic milk. So
And guess what? You have to sign when the doctor says, "I recommend this," a waiver, so you can't sue them for that.
yeah, so I'm not getting into the legalese because I don't know. But what I'm just talking about is strictly what I know about, which is
Hmm.
these milks are not always best for the kids. Now, this is something that I have experience with because I used to babysit a lot and stuff like that. And depending on who I had, they couldn't drink certain milks. The crazy thing about milk for children is your the mother actually produce everything that the child needs.
Right. The mother makes custom made
Literally.
nutrients
Like
for
the
the
milk
baby.
is yeah, the milk is literally tailored to the child. So whatever
The
issue
best
that your child
part
is
of
having,
having a baby milk is the baby's made for the milk.
yeah, like you produce everything throughout pregnancy and everything else. Like everything
Everything
that
the
your
baby
child
needs
needs.
comes from mom.
And
You
it's
can't get that in a
free.
bottle or a can.
It's free and it's
The
on
only thing
demand.
you got to
Now,
pay for is wipes and diapers.
yeah, now here's another thing too that I wanted to say is that you got to be careful with the type of some women they pump. You have to be careful with the type of pump you use. You also have to be careful with the type of bottles you use as well, because some of these uh, baby bottles have certain chemicals in them that are harmful. I think there's this one really popular chemical called BPA. I don't really know what it stands for,
I have no
but
idea. We'll look it up.
yeah, it's very very harmful though. Um, Another thing about pumping milk. Now I did read somewhere a while ago that depending on your hormones throughout the day, that's what you produce for your child. So at night, if you feed your child at night, it helps them sleep better. And then, it gives them energy boosts if you feed them during the day. Some women will pump at night or they will pump during the day and they will conserve or preserve their milk. But it doesn't give that on demand nutrition that the child needs. So that's just a tip there, something that I studied like a long time ago. Um, but yeah, like it's so crazy how we have all these advancement in technology and everything else, and yet we have an issue with whether or not a woman can actually feed her child. And then of all things in politics, when people are fighting about women's rights and things like that, like nobody's fighting for like a woman to be a regular person. You know what I just realized when I just said that? Why would corporations fight for women to be functional when they make so much money off of them being dysfunctional? Like it's not in their best interest.
Well, no. If I
It's
make if I make you thinking you're just product to be just livable and love yourself, and they know the image how the mind of a woman thinks about how they look or what they need, they will never stop spending money. If I can get you hooked on having to buy my products for your life, I've got you for life.
Right, right. Because this is the second part of that. What I'm getting from that is that why would they fight for your better interest when that's up to your family? You see what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
that is your family's responsibility to ensure that for you. That's not the corporation's responsibility, nor is it in their best interest because see, if they fight for their interest, then how are they going to provide for their own families?
Hmm.
They lose
You
profit.
can't.
Like you have to have your own. You have to care about yourself. You have to care about
You have to. It's
your.
not even optional.
So like I like how I keep asking my own questions, answering my own questions as I'm answering them, but just saying it out loud, I get it. It
But
makes sense.
but the question still always stays: how do you take care of yourself?
Right. And then with children, they need to be taken care of by their parents. And if they're
Hmm.
not taken care of by
And
their
the only
parents,
one to take care
then
of your children is the parents,
right. And if they're
because
not,
your parents know your
then
children the best. They
the
know what they
the
need.
corporations, yeah, the corporations, that's how they make money because that's the way that they make profit. They find a
Right.
dysfunction and then they exploit it, which that's not, I mean, that's not the most positive business model, but it is extremely lucrative. If there's a
Hmm.
problem that persists, then you have to pay me for my services to fix the problem.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I really can't get mad at that.
Pay you for your services to fix the problem. Pay me for your services to research it to find out what it is. We may have to go to a specialist for X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
We have to with mental measures tests.
yeah.
Start out with
So
my services to my colleagues' services, which blanket. I mean,
yeah, so that makes sense. But yeah, that was just some little interesting event that happened today. They made us want to kind of had a conversation. But that's crazy, man. Like, but I realized like women cannot be their absolute best if the men around them are not taking care of or not balancing things. So like if you like even when talking about breastfeeding, for example, I wouldn't have that as an option if I didn't have provisions, if that makes any
right.
sense. You
Women
know,
need a
so
man that's taking care of themselves, willing to take care of them, and support their child.
right. And it has to be done in that order. So then when it's not
Hmm.
done that way,
It
then
takes
you
time.
know,
If it takes time for the man to be ready for that, then you should wait till he's ready
yeah,
to that. That way, that
these
you and the
same
child do not suffer.
right, because these same major corporations, they would never feed their
Hello.
children. They would never feed their
Hello.
children these things. Oh, is he asleep?
Not all the way. He had a visitor. A little girl came up and tried to say hi. And he was just like, I was like, hello, hello.
Yeah, but yeah, it makes sense. Like now, I guess you and I, we need to probably start talking about this whole. Remember how we was talking about like how men being on a food chain, and it's like the guys up top exploit the guys at the bottom.
Yes.
I think that'll be a good live. I don't think it'd be appropriate for here though. It's a family friendly environment, but yeah, we just thought, I just learned from doing this live with you that that's just how it goes. Like um it's weird to see a woman taking care of her child because it's not in the best interest of anybody that
Hmm.
any woman takes care of her child. It's in everybody's best interest that
No, if she does
that
that,
child didn't
then
have
how do
any
I make
child care.
money?
Right,
How does
right,
that benefit
right,
me? What does that do to benefit me? What about my business?
right, right. Yep, that makes
Literally,
sense.
literally.
Versus on the flip side, if a woman is out here, dressed any old kind of way, yeah, that's gonna make a lot of profit. That's gonna keep a lot of attention. That's gonna get people talking, you know. And that's another thing I realized. As long as there's a problem, there's an opportunity.
Hmm.
When everything is good, there are no opportunities. There's nothing to exploit if everything is functional. So But yeah, we about to wrap this up though. Just wanted to check in with
All right.
y'all, do a quick live,
All
and
right.
catch y'all on the next one.